Right, so I guess we kind of have to explain ourselves a bit here. Um,
Yeah, there's been a few new developments since we recorded the last podcast, which was I can't even remember what one we did last. It's been so long.
oh God, let's see, the last one we did? Um, we tried to record the Dubai one. It
Yeah,
was
we tried to record the Dubai one, then
oh
realised we had.
the last one we did was SFA and Dorney. Wow.
That was the last one we did.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Okay, welcome back to the Decent Thrills podcast. It's been a long while.
Finally, yeah.
Um, we've both been very busy people, especially
Yeah,
you.
especially me. So, long story short, I've now got a job. Uh, and that job is at Chessington
Yeah,
as a ride host. So, if you see me there, say hi. However, that has pretty much taken over all of my schedule recently.
yeah.
So we've literally not been able to sit down and record a podcast for absolutely ages due
It's
to
suddenly become very difficult to find a
yeah,
time when we're both free because I've got days where I've got literally no free time, and Tom has days where he's got literally no free time.
yeah. And if I do have free time, it's when I've come back in the evening, tired, hungry.
Yeah, and not in the
So
mood to record anything.
yeah,
So that happened, and then also Pleasure Beach opening weekend happened, and we
yeah, that
were off
happened.
there.
We went up there. I don't know if anyone saw us or said hi. I know a few people did.
Yeah, that was fun. It was. I mean, I think everyone's sort of talked about Pleasure Beach at this point. It was a shit show, and everyone knows it was a
Yeah,
shit show.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, our take on it was pretty much we got our first day, uh, kind of compensated. We didn't ask for a ticket refund. We got priority passes, which
Yeah,
was
definitely
basically our
helped.
ticket to riding the big one for that day and the next day. Just because waiting in big one's queue line is a bit of a no-no for me
Mm,
due to claustrophobia, because that station is not very nice, especially on one train ops.
but it is pretty cool that the people who got in at queue close got night rides. Like
Yeah, I
that
know.
was
We, I
really
mean,
fucking
we
cool.
were sitting at the Velvet Coaster, the infamous Weatherspoons, just looking out and just seeing Big One with its headlights on, rushing around like
Yeah.
past dark time.
Um, yeah. So that was it was cool. I think there were a lot of ups. I think the biggest
Hmm.
up was our ride on Valhalla on the Sunday.
Yeah, we rode Valhalla with a lot of our friends taking up most of the boat. That was great.
Yeah.
Also, we had, I think, yeah, I've had my biggest like friend group meet up at Blackpool as well ever.
Yeah.
There were so many people there.
We managed to get a group of about 12, 13 people going
Yeah,
around
there
the
were a
park
lot.
together. It was amazing.
Yeah, and we all took over rides and stuff. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So it was a great day. Tao's opening day is next weekend, so we're recording this on a Friday, and
Yeah, this
it's
will hope. I
yeah.
mean, if I can get Joel to edit this together, it should be out on the 16th or 17th.
We'll see. We'll make
I'm
we
not. I
make
mean, it's not like I'm making any promises because this is recorded in the past. But
no. I think we've learned at this point not to make promises.
mm,
As to when we can get episodes out, we're just gonna do them when we can.
today we should be recording two, and then we've also got a two-parter Dubai one planned.
Yeah.
When we will be recording that is gonna only time will tell, but we have got a guest sorted out for that one, and he will be coming on and speaking about that. But in the meantime, I suppose let's talk about the subject of this podcast, which is Icon.
Icon. Yeah. So, I mean, we were promising the Icon retrospect for months. Like the Wicker Man episode came out last year, just after Scarefest.
Yeah,
Um.
I mean that's because we just come off it, really, hadn't we?
Yeah. So, God. So now we're finally talking about Icon. And I know everyone's talked about Icon now because it's been open for ages. But see this as a sort of retrospect now that it's been open for almost a year.
Yeah, we're gonna be looking not just at like how it's been over the year. We're gonna go way back,
Yeah.
like we did
So
with our Wicker Man one, basically.
so
Hopefully
shall
that'll
we
make for
go?
some...
Shall we go way back then?
Yeah, let's do that. I can't remember when I first heard about Icon stuff because it was literally that long ago. Like with Wicker Man, I can at least pinpoint when the plans dropped and like
Hmm.
when the rumors happened. But with
Well,
Icon, there's just you could put me anywhere.
weren't you at Phantasialand in
I
2015?
knew about Icon before that,
Right.
but I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
So Bit of background. I know somebody who when I was in the Linux community, I knew somebody who now works at Mac Rides as the layout designer. He did DC Rivals, he did Time Traveler, he also oversaw parts of Icon.
Yeah.
And he basically gave me the heads up that it was going to be a Mac in 2015 when nobody knew anything about it.
Which is crazy to think you knew about it for that long. I mean,
Mm.
I wasn't even in the community in 2015. Like, I started getting like really into it like 2016, 17, and I was just like, I watched a few Theme Park Worldwide videos and saw them saying, "Oh, Blackpool Pleasure Beach are getting a Mac Mega Coaster," and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And then yeah, but you knew about it so much longer than that, which is just...
So much longer, yeah. I mean, I didn't say anything about it because like I kept it quite under wraps. I told a few friends.
But it sounds like Blackpool weren't exactly being secretive about it. They clearly had a new coaster in the works for a very, very long time. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just spot checking with Zach when it all started.
Okay.
Because I literally don't know. Because like there is so much stuff. There was one thing I do remember. Is there was a van.
Right.
That was parked outside of Pleasure Beach that someone photographed and put on a website called the No Limits Exchange, which is what I used back in the day as my forum. And it had like Project some year on it. I can't remember if it said a Project 2018 or not. I know it said Project something.
Right.
But they've obviously been dropping very subtle hints for a very long time.
Yeah, but I mean, this was clearly... Blackpool were clearly set for a new coaster at this point.
Well, yeah, because they axe the Tom Sawyer Bridge in 2015.
I think it was, yeah, might have been, because when I only went to Pleasure Beach for the first time in April 2017, and that bridge was long gone already when I was there. They had that new one in, and the Icon construction site was just a big muddy pit at the time.
Yeah, it was a muddy pit for a while. I mean, they still had the go-karts open until like fairly late, I think.
Right. Okay.
Either that or the track was still there until like they actually started building the ride at least. I know the Tom Sawyer Bridge went quite early on, but then I mean we'll just jump to the plans. I guess they came out the top down. It was leaked.
Yes, I did see that.
There was no height. There was no height elevation or anything, and there were all these really weird interpretations of what it was going to be.
I went back and watched some of those at one point. Some of them were very...
Yeah, I know. Some of them are very... Like, they assumed that it was a massive coaster. Like, they assumed that it was really big and really tall and all over the place. But...
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw it in Coaster Force. I think I saw the top-down layout on there.
Yeah, there are a lot of hack jobs.
Which it happens with any coaster.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot with Wicker Man. I mean, because they had the launch and stuff. The
one that jumps to mind to me is that West Coast Racers prediction that had like 2 full throttle loops. Well, that was that's the one I think of. Is enthusiasts come up with some pretty crazy shit.
And then eventually, hang on, I can actually get a timestamp on this because I can see when it was posted on Pleasure Beach's channel. But then they released the video.
It was late 2016, wasn't it? We know about both. Well, we know about both. At the time, Construction 2018 and SW8 in late 2016.
Yeah, they were both really... I think Icon was revealed way before.
Right.
I swear, like fully at least. Like, God, this is really difficult because unlike with Wickerman, we've got like Towers Times posts to go back on. There's not really much for Icon that you can really trace back.
No. Okay. Well, shall we just... What did you think when Pleasure Beach released that first render of the layout?
Well, when they released the render, I was really excited for it. I was like, "Yeah, this looks really good. Like, I'm really excited for this, and I think it's going to be great." But then I got so many people coming down on me saying like, "Oh, it's slow. Oh, it looks boring." Like,
a lot of people.
What a horrible layout design.
A lot of people, and I was guilty of this as well, were put off when they found out that the top speed was 50 miles per hour, which initially you think, oh, that's quite slow. But if you do like a little bit of searching on RCDB, Nemesis is 50 miles an hour. The Smiler's 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Some of the shorter RMCs like Twisted Cyclone and Storm Chaser are both 50 miles an hour. The Batman clones are 50 miles an hour. So 50 miles an hour is not as slow as people think, but...
Yeah, I've just got a video. I remember the one thing that... I think this was before the plans were leaked. I think there was a room... I can't remember if it was before or after the plans were leaked about the whole top hat going through or like under, through or over Big One's lift hill.
Right.
I remember that being a thing that people thought was going to be a lot more magnificent than it ended up being.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still good, but like I think people were kind of expecting it to go up and over.
Yeah, I wasn't even speculating. Like, I literally had no idea this was happening until I saw the Pleasure Beach render itself.
No, looking at this video, I thought it looked great. I'd been on Terran that year, and so I've been introduced to the sort of higher raised seating.
Yeah,
and it gives a very different set of forces to your average, like fairly low to the ground, low slung train like you find on Stealth or Colossus or any other sort of sit down
the old
launch or
arrows.
looping coasters in the UK. Yeah, it is like the sensation of forces on transitions is especially.
Yeah.
I was looking at Icon thinking, yeah, this looks fantastic. I think it's going to be great fun. And then I just had everyone around me going, oh, it looks slow, boring, and meanders around. It's useless. I'm just sitting there like, come on, it doesn't look that bad, guys. Like, come on.
I mean, at this point, I had not been anywhere outside of the UK, and I was just... Well, actually, no, I had, but I didn't remember. Basically, I only knew UK coasters, and I was just excited to get something new, and it looked pretty good. It looked better than a lot of what we've got.
Didn't look good aesthetically, with the fucking green and...
The tantrum colours.
Green and orange.
I like that there's an actual coaster that's been built in that colour scheme now.
Yeah, that was quite funny. And the same year as well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked at this and I was really excited, but I had a lot of naysayers.
So yeah, I went twice in 2017. First time was April. And I'm pretty sure it was just a big muddy pit. Some of the concrete foundations might have been there. I don't remember.
I mean, there was...
What was that back then?
They had a lot of issues with the footers, didn't they?
Yes, they had to re-pour a few of them. Which I think that might have been what they were doing when I went back in August. It was August. I went back in August. And I think some of the footers were in, and they were replacing some of the footers.
Okay. I'm just trying to think because I can't really say as much about this one as Icon. As Wicker Man for construction. I never saw any of this really.
No, you never went.
Not to mention, it pretty much appeared over the off season. Like during the main season, you couldn't see anything. It was all just footers and like a couple foundations.
Throughout the 2017 season, basically all of the construction hype was on Wicker Man for me. Because Wicker Man was going up, there was supports going in, there was the lift hill going in, there was the track going in, and throughout all this time, there was like, Icon was all just groundwork, and it really wasn't that exciting.
I'm pretty sure people were like even questioning whether it was going to be ready in time for the season.
Yeah, I think people just forgot that. I think some people might have just forgotten that steel coasters can go up a lot quicker than wooden coasters.
Oh yeah, Wickman took ages of prep. I mean, to be fair, this did too, but it was over like a longer period of time, I think. Because I think Tom Sawyer Bridge went before...
Tom Sawyer Bridge went long before they started the construction, I'm pretty sure.
Apparently it went during the 2015-2016 off-season, so that went way before the towers had even touched the flume.
The flume, yeah. I think the flume closed at the end of 2015. I don't think... It wasn't there in 2016, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or it was there, but it wasn't being worked on.
Open, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I went back in WoW Weekends in 2018, and that was when all the track was in, basically.
Yeah, it was just there now.
The whole thing was up when I went, because I went the week after they finished the track work, because they finished the track work during the week after the first weekend.
I kind of want to roll back a little bit because we're jumping quite far ahead of time.
That's true, yeah.
When stuff like actually started going up, I was still really excited. I was a lot more excited for this than I was for Wicker Man by a long shot.
But you hated Wicker Man, so that's understandable.
Yeah, we've already talked about that.
Yeah, once
while I stand by my views back then based on what I was seeing, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's good. But with this, I was properly on the hype train.
Yeah, I was definitely more hyped for Wicker Man initially, just because Towers is my home park. But once the tracks started arriving for Icon,
yeah,
and
some of the really misty, foggy photos that were released by Amanda Thompson looked they looked really proper nice, and you know, I was just waiting patiently for it to just appear, because there weren't many construction photos of this, because you can't see into Pleasure Beach from outside the park very well.
Not at
all.
Like,
you would have been able to see a few things go in, like the top hat and the Edelman, but the rest of it was just you wouldn't have been able to see anything. I'm pretty sure somebody flew a drone over there at some point. Am I making that up?
Possibly.
That's where I remember. Like, I'm pretty sure this was like very near the beginning of the 2017 season, so I think track work was basically almost done. Oh yeah, there's also another one of the photos that got me really exciting was the Big Dipper interaction turn.
Yes.
Like seeing that photo for the first time was like, holy shit! Like that is close. That is really close.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and thinking it was close as well.
And fun fact, because a Big Dipper is an old bride, it doesn't have an official clearance envelope, and apparently that was a bit of a headache for Mac.
So they just had to eyeball it, didn't they?
They had to basically eyeball it, and put a temporary envelope over it in the software. So it could potentially break clearance. We don't know.
I doubt it does, honestly. I mean, we'll get onto that when we start talking about the actual ride. The one that really got me going was when we saw that top down of how it goes over Steeplechase.
Oh god, yeah.
And we saw the roll, and we were like, that roll, we're pretty sure might break clearance. I mean, maybe it doesn't, but apparently you can touch the track on that roll. So
yeah, on a seat that's like slightly below. We'll get to that.
But yeah, that's the one that got me, because I was really excited for that whole like interaction, diving underneath the other rides and stuff. I thought that was going to be really cool.
So the next construction phase, I guess, was when they tested.
Yes. The testing, yeah.
This was when there was a bit of a uproar.
This was when a lot of people started to go off it, and I was getting a little bit worried myself seeing some of it. But
yeah, I was starting to get a bit worried. I was worried, but I was like, I had faith.
I was thinking, like, I was trying to be as like optimistic as possible. I was going, well, you know, it's very cold at the moment. It's like winter, and they're testing empty trains. Plus the trains, they do slow tests. Yeah, they do slow tests. Plus the trains were testing without their zero car on, so that's another bit of weight.
I don't think they had water dummies in either at the start.
No, they didn't. I don't think so anyway. And the zero car, that's another bit of weight. I doubt it's that heavy, but you know, that was another bit not on it. So I was kind of, I know a lot of people were just put off it completely when they saw the test footage. Some people in the American side of the community basically watched the test footage and wrote it off completely. And just said, "Oh, that's it. It's a slow, meandering, boring ride. Not even open yet."
Thinking about that now compared to a certain other Mac ride that's opening this year, seeing the first testing footage for that, and
we can
we
can get to that because we've got a whole section to talk about all the community reaction to it. That's the bit that you're going to want to turn off. So they announced the opening date. We were actually going to Alton Towers, I think. We were. We were
at Towers.
No, it was the day before. We were with Harry.
Yeah. I was on the train up.
Yeah, we were with Harry. The day before.
We were with Harry when it was announced.
Yeah. So,
it was the day before. Yeah, it was announced when I was heading back. Because we were at the train station, I got out my phone. I was like, "Oh, Icon's got an opening date. Should we do it?"
Yeah, and I was like, I spoke to my mum about it and said, like, "Could you drop us at Pleasure Beach on the 25th? It's the day before my birthday.
Ooh,
could we go?"
Yeah, it was.
And that was like, yeah, that's fine. So that was what we did. We went on the opening day. We didn't do any of the media shit.
We didn't. Both of us went to Pleasure Beach like a day before our respective birthdays.
We did, didn't we?
Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so we didn't do any of the media pass. You know, we're not important enough
There was
to
a
get
lot
media
of
passes or
controversy
anything.
around that. There were a lot of mixed reviews. I know
'Cause-
there was. I think because one American enthusiast had been on it during the previews and came back saying it wasn't that good, that set off everybody in the US community. Like
But he
one
wrote
person,
it once.
yeah,
And he
he
probably wrote it
once,
on a middle seat
and
or
it was like
something.
one of the first ever rides with people on.
Yeah.
And they're literally, there's like they don't even run it for the whole day. They run it for the morning and then they close it.
Yeah, so
Those tickets were like absurd, weren't they? Weren't they like £50 a pop?
they were not 50, they were 15, I think.
No, they were more than that. The preview tickets.
Oh,
Like the
they were
VIP preview
they were a
tickets.
lot to justify like one ride,
Yeah, it was not.
considering you could just wait a bit. I know
Not
some
to mention people bought multiple of those and went back on
I
multiple
think
dates and
I could
Godspeed.
understand if you run like, you know, a theme park channel with updates and stuff, and you're going to want to get on it quickly and as soon as possible because then you can talk to your fans about it. That's understandable.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I mean, it's your money at the end of the day. I couldn't justify the money spending it. I don't think I could even get up there for that time.
Yeah, I mean, we were enthusiasts as well, but it's just like that's a lot of money for one ride. I mean, literally just wait. There wasn't like a week or two before.
Yeah, it wasn't even. It was only a couple of weeks before.
Then we had the actual like
Media day.
press day.
Yeah. And that was when Harry came back.
Sorry?
That was when Harry came back from it.
Oh
and
yeah,
gave us
Harry
his
went there on
thoughts.
that day.
And I mean, Harry was. If Harry Coasterbot this is, we're talking about. He's very cynical of Mac coasters. So,
I
he
think prior to this, he'd only done Blue Fire, and he fucking hated Blue Fire.
Yeah. So we were kind of expecting quite a cynical review from him, and he came out saying it's quite good. He said, you know, it's got a lot of good elements. The launch is weak, which is what we all expected.
If anyone thought that was going to have a powerful launch, they needed to reevaluate their like deduction skills.
Yeah. So then we could tell the story of opening day a little bit and how it all happened, because it was we might have kind of gone a little bit overboard. So like the park opened at 11, I think.
Oh no, there's something else we need to say prior to this. One of my friends in Wales called Jay,
yes.
5, one of my friends and fellow No Limits 2 group people. Wasn't this like a few days before the opening? We were like, could you drive up to Blackpool for opening day?
Yeah.
And he literally drove from Wales all the way up to Blackpool.
South Wales, by the way. Sorry.
South Wales, yeah.
Blackpool's,
so not even North
Blackpool's
Wales,
quite short distance from North Wales, but no, he lives in South Wales. He lives near Oakwood.
He literally drove all the way up and got there for like the same time we did.
Yes, which was about 2 hours before the park opened, I think.
We really overestimated how many people.
We thought it was going to be packed. I think we didn't kind of put two and two together that one. No one in the UK gives a shit about Pleasure Beach.
No, wasn't it a weekday? Or
it was a Friday. It was a Friday, and it was in
it
was in the middle of exam week as well. So
oh yeah, it was because Zach, our friend and fellow, and like our Blackpool like know-it-all, he had an exam that day, and had to so in order to still arrive there, he like had to like be ill of school after the exam.
Yeah,
to come. I mean, he didn't miss anything,
no.
So
he was. I mean,
it's not, yeah. He didn't skip any important like exams or lessons to get here, but
he had an exam in the morning, and then he basically went out of the exam hall, got into his car his dad's car, and came up to Blackpool and met us there.
But yeah, we got there. We saw Sean and gang doing cursed things.
Yeah, they were. We walked round the corner to the entrance like 2 hours before the park opened, and Sean Sambrook and his crew were there, and no one else.
Oh
and
yeah,
like,
I think Alex Crump had like just broken his sunglasses. I think
he dropped his sunglasses.
And then, he dropped them. No, they broken. I think one of the lenses had popped out.
Right.
He gave it to Sean. Sean put them on the floor, and then full on like cartoon double like foot up in the air, jumped and just stamped on them.
Yeah, that's the most. That was like... Theme Park Worldwide off camera that we witnessed that day, which was very strange. So that was an interesting visit.
Oh yeah, then we did a walk. We walked up and down the promenade trying to like see anything. in the
Yes.
park after that.
We looked at those supposed footers, which we could talk a whole half an hour about what those footers were supposedly for, but I think we'll just
I mean, if
leave
we
it.
ever do an episode on Blackpool Pleasure Beach as a park, we can talk about that.
Yeah. And then about an hour and a half later, they started giving people wristbands after oh god, there were so many like people were getting boarding passes first. Like they were doing more boarding pass shit.
Yeah,
in the morning.
they were letting people in to ride Icon already.
Yeah.
Leaving like us plebeians outside to just stand and wait.
So about 11 o'clock, we finally were able to get our wristbands handed to us. And that was when they told us that Icon wouldn't open until 1 p.m. Which was, we were like, excuse me?
Yeah, me, you, and Jay just like stared at each other. I was like, what?
So that was weird. So we went into the park and we rode the Big Dipper.
Ow, my back.
Yeah,
I just want to point out, at this point, it was raining quite a bit as well.
Yes, it was raining.
It was raining. It was quite grey. It's a very typical British seaside weather on that day.
Yeah, but honestly, that might have been the best ride I've ever had on the Big Dipper, purely because as we were going round, we were like looking at Icon, this new and shiny coaster.
Yeah.
And they were like throwing those trains through, and we got interaction with like 3 trains of people as we went round, which was really cool. And at that point, we thought they were like pass.
At that point, we just ran to the entrance. And
well,
no.
What happened was we thought they were pass holders, right?
Oh.
So we were like, all right. So we got off and we're like, we'll do the big one. And we walked to the big one, and you were like, oh, we could walk by Icon's entrance and see what's going on. And as we walked by Icon's entrance, we noticed that like just members of the public were just going in. So we're like,
yeah,
we can just go on.
We literally all just like looked at each other and then ran.
we just got in the queue, and before we knew it, you and me were waiting for the front row.
Yeah.
And then we were on the front row, and I was like, wow, this is suddenly happening.
Yeah, it was such a like literally went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. So we got our first ride. I mean, we're going to talk. I can't really remember what the first ride was like, but we can talk about it.
It was great.
It was a good first ride.
I just remember getting absolutely fucking blown away.
Yeah.
Like, my expectations weren't, like, they were like not too high per se.
No, mine weren't at that point
I was not expecting it to be as good as Taron. I was not expecting it to be like in my top 10 per se. But holy hell, it absolutely took my heart. I mean, it was great, and that was not even the best ride we had that day.
The memory, what I remembered was just the moment we hit the brake run. The first thing you said to me was, "Wow, that's literally a mini Taron."
Yeah, and it is. I'll stand by that to my grave.
And I was like, "Yeah, that was a solid first ride." So that was our opening day experience. So we're going to rewind from the layout a little bit and talk about. Let's see, we've got theme, station, music, all this stuff.
Oh yeah, that's like one thing that we could also talk about more on the Wickerman episode that we can't talk about on this one really because it's not really themed.
So the theme, I mean, everyone's done the whole stylized thing. It looks nice for the most part.
For those of you abroad, especially in America, I would compare the whole Icon stylization to what Six Flags and Cedar Fair do to some of their rides.
Yeah.
So think of the way that Fury's branded.
Yeah, that's good.
Think of the way that I-305 is branded. Think of the way that something like
I'd say it's a little bit better than Fury and I-305.
Oh no, yeah, definitely got a bit more effort in those two. But like that's kind of how extensive the
but like the shop that they built, the new shop that they built looks fucking great. I really love the look of that shop building, and the renovation they did to the restaurant.
Oh god, yeah, the coasters,
also looks great.
They have the entrance sign and everything.
Yeah, the entrance sign looks great. All the like plaza around it looks great.
I like the walls and there are some plants in the right area as well. They weren't grown out at all when we were there for opening day, but they have grown out a bit now and they look nice.
Those little red sticks. I know everyone's like, oh, they're just little red sticks, but they are nice. They look modern. They look sleek. They've got the names of all the people who worked on the project.
And they pay homage to everyone involved in the project. Yeah, it's got all the names on them.
It's a really nice. It's a really nice touch, I think.
Like obviously, it's not fucking top tier theming XD. It's just a nice little, tip of the hat sort of thing.
Yeah, there's little fountains, of course, because it's Blackpool. It's just nicely sort of kept and nicely
The only
knitted
area
together.
that I would say is kind of questionable is the bit around the S-bends. But that's because it's literally got other stuff built in around it, and you can't do much there.
Yeah, they've tried to add a little bit more.
They
but...
spray painted the turtle.
Yeah, they did spray paint that totem pole as well, I think. For the ride
I think
area.
they did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they made it red.
It is. Yeah, that's right. It is interesting that they reused so much of what used to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that, but
yeah, I can't fault them
works.
for use of resources, but yeah.
Right. So we've
now
talked
about the Adidas shoebox, are we?
Yeah. So we've talked about all the good parts of the theme. So let's talk about the fucking station building. How?
Oh, also, just a side note, the queue's good as well.
Yeah, the queue's nice. How have they managed to get all this shit right and then get the station building so fucking wrong?
You see, I don't think it's as bad as you say, but at the same time, it is very boxy.
As it was going up and as the cladding was going on, those black panels, I was like, that looks a little bit boxy. And then I was looking at comments online and there was Amanda Thompson saying, oh, don't worry, it's not finished yet. We're going to make it look better. And then they put that wood shit on and it made it look worse. And I was like, it just doesn't look good. And then they sort of put the gold logo on and it still doesn't look very good. And then they stuck that Japanese arch thingy on top. It's just, I don't get it. How can the shop building look so good and the station building look so shit?
It's also got some really weird design features, especially in the interior with the whole mirror thing.
I like the interior.
It does look a bit like a fucking bathroom shop, just tiles and stuff.
But no, it's nice on the inside. I'll give it that. It also is kind
got
of
a hole in the side.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Yeah, they took a chunk out the side, which is where the transfer track is. Which, might I add, the transfer track is fucking brilliant. Yeah, I love the transfer track. It's
the station
amazing.
transfer. It's clever and cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
How it works with how it just slots into the building, then it can just go out and come back.
Yeah, that is cool. And I'll go to the trains because that kind of ties into it here. The trains look great. I know they're basically just reskinned Helix trains with one less
They
car.
are the Helix ones, but they don't look as bad. I know a lot of people saying it looks like a fucking handbag, but I mean, no. In the sun,
they look
night,
nice.
with all the lights around it, they look really nice.
Yeah, and especially at night, they're very visually appealing at night with the
lights on and stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, if people complain that some of the lights aren't working on fucking Icon, I'm gonna kill them because even Helix has its issues that at least even Leesburg themselves can't fix instantaneously. So don't have a go at Blackpool for that. It's not entirely. Oh, it's not just because it's Blackpool, okay?
Yeah, no, they look good. So, okay, the music, right? We heard what's it called? Euphoric Icon. That was the one that was used.
I did not listen to any of the music before the ride opened, by the way.
I didn't really either, but I think I had listened to it, but I didn't remember it very well. So Euphoric Icon was the one that everyone had heard, because that's the one they used in all the recreations and everything, and it looks fine. It's fine. It sounds fine. I like it. Yeah. It's alright. It works. And then you've got Dramatic Icon.
Oh, that's like the best. Hearing that walking into the station, it was turned up quite loud on opening day as well, because they had in-ear communication things, so I didn't have to worry about communicating across the station.
Yeah, so it's opening day and we're in the station and it's full of enthusiasts. Everyone's cheering. The music, this dun 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 dun, is blasting, and it was so hype. I love it so much. There aren't many ride soundtracks. I think that's the only ride soundtrack actually that I will listen to outside of being at a park, because I love that.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It's so hype.
Such good hype music. Yeah.
I
also like the queue ambience as well. You
yeah.
don't hear it because they kind of overlap with other soundtracks, but I really like the ambient build up for the queue line audio.
Yeah, no, the queue audio is good. I like it.
And the main theme for Icon, the launch music, it's all just it's great. It's not like fucking I'm a score, but it does its job super well.
Yeah.
And it is one of my favourite theme park soundtracks of all time, honestly. It is just an absolute banger.
I think Dramatic Icon is my favourite, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Same,
At least that
by
I've heard.
far.
So, yeah. So the coaster, God. I think the best way to do this is to go
Element by element, I guess.
So
yeah.
you roll out onto the first launch. Yeah, I mean the launch it's not a very good launch. We're not going to sit here and pretend that it's
fine.
a good launch.
It's not that bad, but at the same time, it's not great either.
So
I don't like it nor dislike it. It's
No.
just a launch. It gets the speed up and it does its job.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the reason is when it launches, only like the front car is actually on the LSMs.
Yeah, because when the
So-
whole train actually goes over the stage, it does pick up its acceleration by a fair bit.
Yeah, it does actually get forceful towards the end, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's nowhere near an Intamin hydraulic or
definitely.
or
not.
even an LIM. There's no competition.
No.
And then so I mean that's that, and then there's the sort of mist tunnel, which when
I love the mist tunnel.
Yeah.
When you go through it in the front row, it's on, and you literally like can't see anything, and the next thing you know, you're literally like going over the top of the top hat.
yeah,
Like,
it's amazing.
It's just gone up, up and over.
Yeah, and the top hat. I mean, when I first looked at it, I thought that looks too drawn out to be like a good airtime moment. But I mean,
That hill, it's not sustained. It's like it spikes if you're in the front and the back. Like
Yeah.
if you're in the front, you'll get a massive spike of air going over the crest of it.
yeah,
If you're in the back, you're going to get an absolute whip going down of it.
it's like you in the front you get ejector going in, and then you float over the top, and in the back you
Yeah.
float over the top and then get ejector as you pull down.
yeah. It's. I mean, it gives it a nice bit of variety with the front and back.
Yeah, so you kind of drop down.
You have the little like incline loop thing, which is okay.
It's it's so fast that it's over in a second. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, the
doesn't-
dive.
I always forget
the
about
dive over steeplechase and Dipper and that. I actually really like that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people say it's like slow in that. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's not forcible, but I like the interaction.
it's a
that
good
you get from
interaction.
that.
It's I do
I
remember.
also I like the pull you get to the left, like when you're like yoinked over. Yeah, when you're yoinked over it. Like even though it's not forceful, the feeling of just getting swung like that.
I do
is
remember
great.
riding that bit and going, "Oh, that's not very forceful. That doesn't bode well."
Yeah, I mean, when the ride speeds up, it does get quite nice.
Yeah, I say some of the when the ride is running fast, some of the little kind of pullouts, the pull out of the top hat at the bottom of the top hat and the pull into the S turns, they actually have some pretty good positives when it's
Oh yeah,
fully
for sure.
sped up. Like you get sort of thrown down into your seat, and they're solid. Yeah, the S turns are great. Nice little sort of snappy side to side action. It's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
And you got like the bit up into the roll over the rides again. The roll is fantastic.
yeah, it's such a fun
Get some
roll.
nice hang time going through it, and
I do think
like as you exit the roll in the back row, you sort of like pick up speed and you get kind of whipped around.
Yeah, I do think that roll, I think it's like the perfect amount of hang time.
Yeah.
I thought, Hydra at Dorney Park has a JoJo roll out the station.
Yeah.
I thought that the hang time, that was too drawn out. And I was
I mean,
like,
that's probably because you're in a B&M restraint. And
yeah,
you're like,
I just thought it got a little bit uncomfortable, really. And I was just I kind of wanted it
just
to be
wait till you
over.
ride full throttle.
Oh,
and
boy.
then you'll see.
So yeah, that's a fun element. And then there's a little double down, which is like there's a little pop and then a good pop of airtime into the second launch.
Oh yeah.
And again,
for sure.
you dive into the mist and then
dive there. I love the little dips into the second launch. They're great
Yeah.
fun, especially in the front and back. You'll notice me saying front and back a lot, and that's because Icon's kind of one of those rides where the middle is kind of a dead area.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it bad per se, but the front and back are definitely
You kind of want
a
to
lot more.
You kind of want to at least be in the front or the back car.
Yeah.
The middle two rows aren't the best.
I think that's
ride
the biggest.
experience.
That's definitely the biggest shortfall for Icon for me personally.
Yeah.
Is the fact that the front and the back are the only outstanding areas.
Yeah.
On Helix, every row is great, including the middle. But on Icon, there
imagine.
is definitely a difference.
Yeah. So, but speaking of back row, so the second launch happens. It's all right. I've had days where the second launch has been like pretty good,
Yeah.
and other days where the second launch has been whatever.
Then you go into Icon's second inversion.
Yes.
And
So that Immelman, I don't think anyone expected that Immelman to be as amazing as it was.
I did, but no one listened to me because.
No, I mean, I just saw an Immelman and I was like, it's an Immelman loop. Like, what?
I knew it
do?
was gonna. I knew it was gonna thwip around there because I seen the one on Star Trek. And Icons looked a lot better than Star Trek's, like the way it was shaped and the speed in the video.
Yeah.
From like the animation looked a lot more promising. So, yeah, God, in the back row, that Immelman is one of my favorite elements of the roller coaster. Honestly, because you get such a variety of forces in like just like a short track span.
It's like, I think it must be one of the best elements I've done because like you get the positives pulling into it. And then as you get to the top, you sort of float up, and at the same time, you're on your side. So it's like sideways floater airtime. And then as it pulls down, it's ejector airtime. You just
get absolutely yeeted out and back into positive force again.
Yeah.
It's good on the front row as well, but I mean,
it's nowhere near as good on the front row. It's the back row. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the next element, from then onwards, is basically front row over back, I guess.
I think so.
Because you get the Stengel dive.
There's a Stengel dive, yeah.
Because you get the initial front row, like the front row. You get the
that
initial,
is good. You get a good lateral sort of.
Get a nice lateral bit
there.
And you go through some turns. They're pretty forceful. And when it is running quick in the evenings, it gets really forceful.
Yeah. So there's a couple turns, and then there's that airtime hill.
That airtime hill. You go down to another down and back up. You have that S hill, which goes over the key line, which is absolutely fantastic.
There's the helix before the just after. Sorry. Just after the.
That's what I meant. Where you sort of you turn back down and then come back up. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's the most forceful part of the ride, I think, in terms of positives.
I think the bit after the S hill can be forceful at times.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of never noticed that. I guess this is another down point. It's kind of after that S hill.
After the off-axis airtime hill, I'd say is when the ride kind of takes a turn for the worse.
It does sort of peter out there. There's the off-axis.
That's mainly because they can't do much. It goes over PBE Express. It goes over Big Dipper. So it's very tight for space for supports and anything basically.
There's the off-axis hill, which is it has airtime and
it's good on the left side. On the right side, it's not that great.
Yeah, then it turns. There's still a couple. There's a little sort of a quite whippy turn actually, and then you go into
there's a whippy turn out of that, and then that turn over Big Dipper is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's so drawn out and slow, and you can clearly tell that it was literally only done because they wanted to do an interaction with Big Dipper. It is probably I know people keep saying Icon has bad pacing. I don't think Icon has bad pacing unless you're talking about that final bit. Yeah, that final bit is horrendous.
It's like a massive element of nothing, that one turn.
Yeah, you don't get any forces. It's literally forceless, that element. You want to talk about
it just feels so shoehorned in at the end. It's like, we're on our side now, okay, and then you go into the brake run.
Kind of wish they had another roll instead.
A blue fire roll.
Yeah,
if they could have done a blue fire roll at the end, that would have completely redeemed the ending of the coaster.
Definitely. But no, we've got this shitty overbank that doesn't actually do much.
And then there's a sort of little whippy bit into the brake run. Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good coaster. I think people are a bit too harsh on it. I don't think it's the best thing in the world. I completely understand if it's not your cup of tea.
Yeah. So,
but at the same time, fuck off. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it is a great ride. For me.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's a long layout. It's smooth. The trains are a great design. There's so many fantastic elements in there.
They roll trains really well in it as well when they're operating it. They get them through quick.
I do understand that there are definitely empty spots between the fantastic elements, but for me,
the only empty spots I can the only empty spot I can think of that is like that because they probably chose it to be that way rather than having to work around existing structures.
That does still make it an inherent flaw with the ride, even if it's.
Just you can't really do much else. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
While it is still, I mean, what part are you thinking of in particular?
I'm thinking of the sort of end of the second half, and also those two turns over Steeplechase that aren't very forceful.
I was thinking of the one coming back up and over into the roll. That's the only bit that I would consider a bit naff, but They
Yeah.
have to get over the 2 rides, unfortunately. There.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for what it is, for how it's fit into all the other rides, it's amazingly well done. Like I've got
Oh yeah, it is weaved in and out of everything, and it is a stunning piece of work.
yeah, like it's amazing. So, I mean, is it the best coaster in the UK for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Preface: it's my favourite in
England.
England.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not saying anything else.
I'm gonna say, for now, yeah, it is my favourite UK coaster. It is my favourite UK coaster for now. That being
Why for
said,
now?
right, I've had some good rides on Nemesis recently, and I haven't been back on it yet. So who knows?
Ooh.
I doubt it, but
that's gonna be an interesting one.
I do love Nemesis a lot, so
I know you do.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. So it does slightly get on my nerves when people say, "Oh, it's the best coaster in the UK," because while I agree, I don't know. It seems.
Well, we'll get onto this in a second
Yeah.
with the final part of this podcast. But I mean, I'll just round it off with saying I think Icon is a solid roller coaster. Don't like it. It's fine. However, I think calling it an inherently flawed or bad coaster is just not right, because it really isn't. So now we're going to go on to the bit where I remember we said when we did the Wicker Man episode, you should probably stop listening.
Yes.
So if you don't like, if you don't like, we're not trying to call out people or cause beef particularly. We just want to talk about a few things that have been said about this ride.
I'm going to put it this way.
Yeah.
It seems, because I've spent a lot more time on Twitter recently than I have in the past, and it does seem like Icon has got one of the most unwarranted hate trains I've ever seen on a coaster.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I've seen people say, "Oh, it's an absolute embarrassment." I've seen somebody make their top 5 worst rides ever list just so they could put Icon at the bottom.
Yeah, stuff like that. I don't
sorry,
quite understand.
And then you look at their profiles, and all they do is retweet from Alton Towers and Thorpe Park.
Yeah,
and it's just
there are some people who don't give Icon as much credit just because it's at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I think that's very wrong.
So
I think you should be able to separate a ride from a park if you're judging it. Like I like some of the stuff at Six Flags America. I really like Raw. I really like Joker. Joker's Jinx definitely. But like, if I associated the rides with the park itself, I would not like them at all.
And I can understand.
I don't like doing that.
I can understand that Blackpool Pleasure Beach isn't for everyone. Like,
yeah, I like the park. I think it's a nice window into that proper kind of like rough around the edges, family-run theme park, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not my favorite.
No, it's not my favorite park either.
Yeah.
But
it's just a nice breath of fresh air compared to the I wouldn't say too corporatized Merlin parks. Gotta be careful what I say about them now.
Yeah. No, it's just different, I like Alton Towers. It's my home park, and I always have fun when I go to Alton Towers most of the time. But Pleasure Beach is, I don't know. It's just
when you're walking by Big One and you've got that carousel music going off.
Yeah, it's just different. Like, I mean, we don't have anywhere else in the UK with a coaster that big, really. Like, okay, Stealth is almost as tall, but nothing on the scale of Big One.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's why I like Pleasure Beach so much. But, like, Icon, I don't see how people can say it's a terrible coaster, because it isn't. Like, it has, like, amazing ejector airtime. It has a great range of forces.
I wouldn't say... it's good airtime, not amazing airtime.
I mean, it's more amazing than a certain RMC.
It's more amazing. It's okay. Icon's airtime is better than most in the UK, I'd say, by like a fair bit.
There aren't
many.
It
that way.
I think maybe Speed No Limits, you could argue, has stronger airtime.
Yeah,
but...
I would honestly put Icon's airtime on par with Terran's.
Right.
You could fight me on that, but I genuinely think that the airtime moments on Terran and Icon are pretty much on par. Neither are better or worse.
No. I know a lot of people were quite annoyed about the hype behind the ride, and some people might have said it was going to be better than Tarrant. I don't know.
I know some people who have done that, and yeah, it's a weird spectrum. There's been the overhypers, the underhypers. It's kind of the same with Wicker Man.
Yeah, I did.
Like we spoke about with that, but I think Icon suffered a bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
purely because
how
of,
many people do you see
Blackpool.
like relentlessly hating on Wicker Man?
I mean,
Other in the UK community, because Americans hate Wicker Man.
yeah, not many. Everyone likes Wicker Man.
Yeah, it
at
does
least.
make me wonder.
I think you'll hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't like it. Honestly,
anyone in the UK has been on it, yeah. And this is the thing, like, there are a lot of people, like people who ride Wicker Man, who say it's their favourite coaster in the UK, will also say Icon is shit and not worth it.
Yeah.
But then people who say Icon is their favourite ride in the UK, a lot of them will still go, but I like Wicker Man too, and I think it's really good. This is just from what I've seen, right?
If non-themed rides aren't for you, then yeah, sure, but that doesn't make Icon bad. It's just not to your personal preference, really.
Yeah, I saw a tweet where somebody said, like, Icon was an embarrassment. That's the T, sis. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh, I know who tweeted that. Yeah, her.
Yeah, no. Like, it really gets to me when... It really annoys me when people are this harsh on it.
Did you realise that you don't have to have a park, like you don't have to theme a coaster to make it good, right? It doesn't need to be plastered with all this stuff. Like, it's a whole spectrum of like what parks make. You've got like amusement parks and theme parks. They're separate things.
Yeah, but I mean, like
they have different goals in mind. They don't just set out trying to beat Disney, do they?
No, but I mean, if you look at
Merlin.
if you see this,
they do their own thing.
You put it this way, I'd say Icon is way better themed than like Galactica, honestly. Because what does Galactica have? It has a portal and...
That's depressingly true.
Yeah.
Like,
and a concrete tunnel, like... Oh, shit.
That's actually upsettingly true.
Yeah.
I'm like annoyed I have to agree with that. I don't want to agree with it, but I have to.
But, I mean, people don't ride Icon for the theme. I don't ride Icon for the theme.
Yeah.
It's a good
I ride
coaster.
it because it's a really fun coaster at a park that I think is, like, a very...
They're on their way up, Pleasure Beach.
Yeah.
I know there's been some all this stuff about their attendance figures. And...
A lot of the stuff about the attendance figures and the income loss, that was not because of Icon being a failure. The entirety of Blackpool Town suffered due to a lot of transportation issues last year.
Like Northern Rail.
So, it was awful for them. It was unfortunate for Blackpool Pleasure Beach, really. I think if the transportation thing had been a bit better, I think it would have been fine. But it's just external. I mean, what can you do? It's like...
Yeah. It was just an unfortunate situation, but...
It's like when Thought built Swarm, same year as the Olympics, and had a massive drop in attendance that year.
Yeah,
because of all the tourism being taken away. It's a situation like that, basically.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to address?
I kind of want to address some people who have been kind of petty about it.
Okay.
Like, I think people have been a bit over petty with things like the launch and...
Yeah, like... A lot of people...
Oh, it's forceless, bad pacing, stuff like that. There's one person in particular who I've seen really try and hammer home about the bad pacing thing. It's not who you think it is, by the way.
I think I know who it is. But... No,
Dean, if you're listening, I'm not talking about you, alright?
It's not you, Dean. Although your opinions are wrong. It's not better than... It's not worse than Bluefire.
We love you too. Anyway, but...
While we're on that, by the way, I know it was a long time ago that you recorded this, but no, the second launch doesn't slow you down. That's false. That is an untrue fact, so don't criticise the ride. The second launch is accelerating. That's it. It does not slow you down. I don't know where that came from, but it doesn't. It's not a thing. It's not a thing that the ride does.
I mean, it's all bad. It's all like balanced now at the end of the day. I mean, that's all. It's all.
We've sort of made up with that side of the community since. I
mean, yeah, for the better.
Since that, but I still think that some of the stuff they said about Icon was a little bit over exaggerated.
Yeah. Psycon.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, yeah. If you don't like it, It's fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try.
Yeah.
I would not. I would not like you saying it that it's objectively a bad coaster.
I know. I
No, no.
said this in the last episode, well, the Wicker Man episode even, but I do get how people can think Wicker Man is better, especially after doing them both at night.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this.
Well.
I will say this, right? Wicker Man's night rides are easily better than Icon's night rides, in my opinion.
Yeah. I say Icons are better, but I had a few effects off my Wicker Man night ride, so.
Wicker Man just has so much. Like when it gets to nighttime, you've got Icon, which has some pretty lights, and it does look very nice. But Wicker Man has a fucking atmosphere at night, so
it does actually. Yeah, no, I think about it.
Yeah, like, it's Wicker Man easily better.
Yeah, I mean, it was the feud. I mean, back in the day, you had Big One and Nemesis, and now it's Icon and Wicker Man.
Yeah,
we've gone over both Wicker Man and Icon now.
I mean, they're both my top 3 UK coasters is Icon, Nemesis, Wicker Man. So, no, I don't diss Wicker Man by any means. I love them both. Really.
They're both good coasters at the end of the day. We've definitely warmed up to both of them as the year goes on. I personally put Icon above Wicker Man. That's not because I don't like Wicker Man. It's literally just
one of the reasons why for me is I went to Alton Towers and Blackpool both quite a lot in 2018. And when I went to Towers, and I think I said this on the Wicker Man podcast, but Wicker Man was quite inconsistent. There were days when it wasn't running very well, and even towards the end of the day, it just wasn't. It wasn't doing it for me. But Icon has always been great at the end of the day. It's always warmed up, even if it's been a bit sluggish in the morning. It's still been great every day I've been. And maybe that's just to do with the fact that Icon's a steel coaster, not a wooden coaster. And it kind of hammers home that it's not worth comparing the two rides.
Yeah, speaking of that, the one other thing I do kind of want to slightly address is the people saying, "Oh, it's like comparing it to Terran and Helix." Like, yeah, they're obviously better.
But like Terran and Helix are both like god tier coasters, so
that doesn't make Icon bad just because they're not up to the level they are.
Yeah, it's like comparing something like, I'm trying to think of a small RMC.
It's like comparing Speed to Carnon.
I was going to say Wicked Cyclones to Steel Vengeance.
Yeah,
that's probably a bit more of a gap.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think that wraps up everything.
Oh, I've got one more thing actually. This is a little gripe from the American response. Not so much the NL2 community, which we touched on with the Wicker Man, but more the subreddit. Because I spend a lot of time on the roller coaster subreddit, and in the Discord, and basically what seems to have happened is that park POV where it was running about as slow as it possibly could have been running, that every channel uploaded, ended up on the subreddit. All the Americans watched it and were like, "Oh, Icon's slow and forceless and bad," and wrote it off immediately.
Then Copperhead Strike came out, and everyone's like, "Wow!"
Yeah, everyone loves Copperhead Strike because it has a curvy launch. That clearly fixes all of Icon's shortfalls.
Yeah, a curvy launch and an even shorter first half, and really, really weird pacing over certain elements. But
speaking of Americans, we've taken 2 Americans on this ride now.
Oh yeah, we have, and they both really loved it. So one of them did kind of put it over Maverick.
So there was David, who was going to be on this podcast, but we had a really hard time trying to schedule him on. He was very surprised by Icon, and he ranks it as it's his number 7 now, but it was his number 6 at the time.
Yeah.
He ranked it over Millennium Force, which is a pretty big one. And then Sammy, who is a massive subreddit person with over like 350
He's been on
credits.
A lot of rides as well, yeah.
He has this in his top 20 over fucking Skyrush and Maverick. Which...
Yeah, I don't quite agree with that personally, but I mean, if you liked it, kudos to you.
He liked it, and I was like, over Skyrush? Are you sure?
I think we both gave him some funny stares over that one.
But I mean, he's a Hershey local, and I think he's kind of Skyrushed out at this point.
Yeah.
So that's fair. But yeah, Americans who have come over have really, really liked it. I know Taylor didn't care for it very much, but Taylor said that the Big Dipper has standing airtime, so what does he know?
Okay, so we did put out a tweet asking for questions.
Yes.
That was almost a month ago.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So I'll go through a few of them. We have a few good ones. First one I just want to talk about now because we kind of glossed over this a bit at the very beginning. From Jay and 115, he's asking us about the infamous shudder of death.
Oh, that.
We forgot to mention this at the start.
If Icon's rattle prevents you from enjoying the ride, then this hobby isn't for you.
Oh no, I don't think he was talking about that.
The shudder. Oh, that shudder. Oh,
that shudder.
Yeah. So,
that too. But yeah, there's also
obviously,
a thing that happened.
Obviously, in 2018, we were very surprised by how well Icon ran. It was very reliable, much more reliable than Wicker Man was. Hardly any downtime. And then WoW Weekends happened, and Icon had like 3 times where it went down and then just didn't reopen for fucking hours.
One of the sensors broke, basically. I think it was chance. I don't think it was because they did any poor maintenance or anything. Because also for the fucker who was saying that when Amanda Thompson said that it was a sensor issue, and someone's like, sensors don't make that noise, hun. Like, yeah, it's not the sensor making the noise, it's the launch that the sensor controls.
Yeah.
And it's tripping the launch that's making the noise.
A lot
of you work on a ride, you should be able to put 2 and 2 together on that one. Stop calling out Amanda because you feel like it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, people were like, when the ride was rollback testing, people were going, Icon rolled back, look at that. Like, yeah, no, they're rolling they're rolling it back intentionally.
They run it, is it 3 times, and then they do a full circuit?
Yeah, it's to warm the wheels up to make sure it doesn't valley, which it has done in the past. So yeah, the shudder of death, basically, at WoW Weekends, Icon went down because when it launched on the first launch, it made a quite dodgy sort of vibrating kind of sound against the launch. Which
what it basically was the one of the sensor tripped off, and it basically made the magnets in the LSM go a bit wonky.
That's what we think, yeah.
I can't think of anything else it could have been.
But yeah, every time Icon went down over WoW Weekends, we were in the queue for it.
Yeah, and also me were just having a blast over it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really funny.
Me were having a blast over it. Meanwhile, everyone else just on Twitter like, Icon's broken again, and being really passive aggressive towards the park.
But okay.
Meanwhile, us and our group were just laughing our fucking ass off about it.
Yeah.
Not caring.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
So yeah,
I do think people were a bit too unforgiving about that. But yeah.
Thank you for that one, Jay. What else we got?
All right. We've got another one from Zach, who's saying, have you noticed any operational flaws in the ride? For example, new riders placing bags and bins can sometimes cause traffic with those who are trying to get off the ride's exit after just getting off.
I will say that.
Having no front row queue wasn't ideal, but since has been fixed. And any other ones?
I will say, because of how you exit. When you go to put your bags in those bins, you do get a bit of traffic with the people getting off from that train.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I think it could be worse. If it was a longer train, then yeah. But, I mean, it's only 4 cars long.
Well,
you won't be waiting
they could fix it by doing what Western Regions Heaven does, where it has a fucking train that takes the baggage hold to the other side.
Oh, dear. But yeah,
no.
I've not really noticed anything else really.
That baggage system is cool. I'll give it that. The whole the flaps that cover it.
Yeah, the only other thing that's really held up operations is LPs. I'm going to say that because
large people.
Yeah. But I mean,
at this point, I've just decided
it's just annoying that they have to go through a notion of like swapping them around. It does take time for dispatch. But you can't really fault it too much. It is a bit of a slowdown.
I will say, don't go for back row if you're like really desperate for a back row ride. Try and go second to back, because if you queue for back row, the chances are you're going to get swapped to a middle seat.
Yeah.
Because it happened when we went for what was it, late night riding. It happened a lot. People getting swapped for back row. One time we got swapped from back to front, which was, can't complain about that. But yeah.
All right, this will be a quick one because I know the answer. I know what I'm going to say to this one. Tom, iSatNav, asks, why couldn't they park the train entirely over the LSMs a la Blue Fire rather than leave the front 2 cars also to drag the entire train along? It's the only real thing letting the ride down at this point. I have literally no idea.
Okay. Yeah. I
can't-
thought you were about to give a logical answer of, well, the park actually had to do it this way.
No, I genuinely don't know why. And search me, because Copperhead Strike is all over the fins. So
But I
fuck
still
knows.
don't think Copperhead Strike's launch is going to be better than Icon's because it's even slower.
Yeah. All right, so Fintamin, who's one of the very avid followers of our podcast, who we speak to on the F System Discord a lot. He said, "What's the magic seat, aka the best seat in the train?
Honestly, it depends.
Best and weakest elements, and would you swap something?"
Yeah, we
so
kind of
magic
already
seat,
said all this, haven't we?
Magic seat for me, back left. I know some people prefer the front. Weakest element, that bit over Big Dipper by a fucking mile, and stuff that I would swap out. Delete that, replace it with the blue fire rule. Thank you.
Yeah, all of that, honestly.
And then one more from Cal. Name one thing you would improve about the ride experience.
That.
Now, I would say the roll.
Yeah.
But I would say something else as well.
What's that?
I wish they'd put a little bit more around the ride, maybe.
You mean like under the steeplechase?
No, I mean like in the area where they have the second half.
Okay.
Like maybe some light fixtures or something. I also kind of wish they put chaser lights on, but Mandy's already said that she didn't want them.
That would have been
why,
if they could have put
chaser lights are fucking mint.
Yeah, like if they could have put a KCL package on that. Oh my god. Oh my god. Then it might be like competing with Wicker Man for night rides, but
yeah,
sadly not.
That's about it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the Icon retrospective. It's late as fuck.
Yeah,
but
we've done it.
You got it.
We've done it.
I hope you're happy. I'm sorry if we've said anything that might have pissed off a few people. We don't intend to. It's at the end of the day, it's just people on the internet just throwing around opinions.
Yeah.
It's not like I'll walk up if I see you at Towers and you've got an issue, and I'll walk up and shake your hand and agree to disagree and all that.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, we're not trying to pick a fight.
Yeah. Please give us any feedback. Tell us where we fucked up. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Indeed.